Hey guys, it's Katie. I don't know if there's a cane out here like this, but I have an idea in my mind of a cane that I would like to make, a translucent one, because I really like the depth translucent canes give, but I don't know. I'm just going to try something here. So my initial thought was starting off with a plug of translucent clay. Get that little piece of white off there. And making different sizes. So first I just have a little plug here of translucent clay. I'm not working in a huge amount because I don't know what this is going to do and how it's going to work. And when it's done, you know, it may be something that someone's already created, it may not. So, you know, if there's an easier way to do this, I'm sorry, you know, if it kind of is what it is. There are different ways to do different things, and this is, you know, when I post videos, it's just the way I do things. So I have a piece of white Primo, and I'm dealing with Primo here. And I have this piece of paper so my light doesn't glare so much. So I have a piece of Primo rolled out on my thickest setting on my Atlas 150. And then I'm just going to wrap a layer of white around this log of white translucent. So let me just trim it up to size. I'm sorry if my hair kind of gets in the way. Let's see, let's wrap this guy up. Initially I was going to do this with smaller little canes and then put them together, but then I was like, well, you know what, I could do this with one big one and then reduce it into smaller ones. It's easier to wrap when it's bigger. I'm just cutting that seam, or smoothing off that seam. See if it's all even. Sometimes I get a little overhang and I'll try to gently trim it. You know, obviously when you're at home you can take more time and measure perfectly, but these videos get really long if I try to show every step, which I like to see in projects. Not that I can't figure out what's happening next, but I like to see it when I'm watching videos, just because I like that. So I like to put in every step. Okay, so now we have a layer of the thickest setting white surrounded by my translucent. And I'm going to reduce this. The way I reduce circles is by grabbing with these two fingers and then grabbing with the same two, and we're going to pinch and turn. I find I get better reduction when I do it this way rather than rolling even a circle. That way, you know, even on my rose canes or a flower cane, you know, this is just what I say, a simple flower cane. It helps to keep everything, oh, it's cracking a little bit, even compared to when you roll, you tend to get one side reduced more than the other or whatever. So anyways, I reduce by doing that and gradually working up to the end. And then I flip, I start in the middle again, just tilt it and work my way around, putting pressure with both hands, pinching, 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 and work my way up to the end. I'd rather get push out than that suction cup in, which when I do circles I tend to get more push out than suction cup. I'm going to trim off that translucent to see if I can keep it. Oh, it's so soft. Separate. A little bit of white on it, but I can trim that white off. Put that back in my translucent. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Which I don't usually do this, but I'm going to do it and see my translucent because I don't know how this cane's going to work. And again, I'm going to just rotate. See, when I put it on the thing, I squished it a little bit. And I'm going to continue reducing this until it gets down. You know, I was thinking a circle a little smaller than this. So I'll reduce this down until I have a long circle about the size of my pinky or so. You don't need to watch it. I'm going to continue to do the same exact thing. Okay, so I have that reduced down. Block this light again. Right here. And I'm going to cut these little translucent ends off again so I can save some of this translucent. No, I didn't even use the blade side. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is maybe cut this in, let's say half. No, I'll cut it because I'm going to want, let's see, with the maybe 2 inches if I exclude the waist on the end. So maybe 2 inches I'll take. A little section, and then this one I'm going to reduce down even smaller. Okay, just smaller than this one. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to keep that 2 inches there, and I'm going to reduce this one down here. And it doesn't really matter that it's 2 inches. I just cut it into 2 inches. So I'm going to continue to reduce that, and I'll be back. Okay, so I got that one reduced down. So not a lot smaller, but a little smaller. Now I'll take as well, probably the same length, but minus the, here, I'll do it from this end where I have that excess. I'll take the same length because we're making a cane. I'll slice that down, put those aside, and I'm going to reduce this one down now. Again, smaller than what we just had. So we're going to have different size snakes or sausages. So I'm going to reduce this one down. It gets harder when it gets smaller to pinch, but I still pinch more than I roll. I mean, maybe, you know, after going up the end, I'll do a quick little roll like that, and then go up the end, quick little roll, but I don't really reduce by rolling. So I'm going to continue that again. Okay, so again, I've reduced that one down. I mean, yes, there's a little excess on the end. So far we have 3 sizes. Again, I'm going to cut a little distortion on the end, so an equal length. There. And I'm going to reduce this one down even more than this, so continuing by doing the same thing. You can also, when it gets a little longer, give it a little pull and slide down. It's hard to do it from the side because it's getting so flimsy to show you. That tends to get the middle skinnier, but not the ends, so then I can see where it's skinnier in the middle and then start up here. And roll. Once it gets little like this, it really doesn't take very long, especially since you've been working on it. And it's nicely conditioned. It doesn't take that long to get to length. Quick little gentle roll just to even out my fingerprints. Let's see, maybe a little bit more up here. Seems fatter. It's so hard when it gets little. I just like, you know, adding translucent canes in on my pendants that I make. I think it adds a lot of depth, especially if you're doing cane pendants. I love the way it looks, especially like a nice leaf cane or something. I was also going to attempt a different style leaf than I've seen, but I have to think it over a little bit. How I'm gonna do it. That's a little fat right there. Come on, get down to size. I'll definitely have some excess, but it's okay. Okay, and then again, I'll cut this to length. So excess to excess, we'll say about here. Okay, so we have 4 size canes, and then let me cut them into 2-inch strips so they're all about the same length, with getting rid of my distortion on the ends. Let's see if I get rid of that distortion, It's not really distorted, only a tiny bit. And then that's only a tiny bit distorted as well. The little ones, you can't really get them in the right line. You know, and other people are saying how there's like easier ways to do things. There may be, totally maybe, but I love crafting. I love doing art and polymer clay work and any kind of art. So I don't, mind if it's taking me a little bit more to do something. I don't really mind that. Then we're going to cut all of these. Oops, I should have left them. We're going to cut all of these in half. So let me put them back in line with each other. I should have put them evenly on my sheet so I could tell where half was. Okay, and we're going to cut them about, what's this? So there. 9, 2, 3. There's about half. Okay. So my thought was to kind of make a roll out of this somehow. And so what I was doing was thinking 2 big ones, and there's still a little excess on this one, but that's okay. Get rid of that little bit of excess there. Okay, so I was thinking 2 big ones, right? If we set them up all in a line. Okay, and then I was thinking 2 medium ones. Is that a medium one? Yep. And then 2 little ones, or 2 even smaller ones, I should say. They're not littlest. And then 2 of the smallest. Hang on, my charger's going, so let me pause this for a second because my phone's gonna die. There we go. Sorry about that. Don't you hate when your phone doesn't hold a charge anymore? And then 2 small ones. Okay, so we have a line like this. And what I was thinking next, because if you think about translucent canes, right? So let me quickly grab a translucent cane that I've done. Hang on one second. Okay, so when you're looking at translucent canes, and here's a leaf one that I've done on a pendant. Here we have spirals, and then I tinted translucent and surrounded them in white. Here is that same leaf cane, a translucent flower there. This is I forget the name of it. It's a translucent cane down here, but it's kind of like lace, a translucent lace cane. Here we have flowers that are translucent, and then leaves, and the same leaves and flowers. Now, when you're doing translucent canes, you have to think in your mind, how light do you want the translucent to look? Meaning, on this leaf cane, I did a layer next to the translucent, so next to this white and stuff, I did a layer of white followed by black. Now on this one, oh, I did too on that one, didn't I? Let me just look, hang on. Yep, on this one I did a layer of white followed by, I like the way it looks with the white. So if I just did, and see, this is just white, and that's just white. Now on any translucent cane, if you were to wrap the translucent in black first, it would make your translucent look darker once baked. Okay, so if any of these were wrapped in black, the translucent in the leaf cane itself would look a lot darker, if that makes sense. So I tend to wrap my translucent in white, and then if I want a nice outline, I do it in black, because I like the way the white black looks. You could totally just do the white and it looks something like that there. Okay, so I don't know if that helps at all. Get my point across. So that's why I wrapped them in white. So next I was thinking to do a layer of black. So I'm going to take some Primo, I'm going to condition it quickly and roll it out on my thickest setting as well. I'll be right back. Okay, so I have a little bit of black rolled out on my thickest setting, and I actually decided I want a couple more little ones on the end. I just want a few more. So of my smallest size, which I had excess, I mean, if you don't, it's not a big deal. Like I said, I really don't even know how this is going to turn out. God, everything's in my way. I don't usually work here unless I'm recording on this far over on my desk. As I see most of you have the same problem, our desks get pretty cluttered with projects we're in the midst of. I can't wait to finish, after that rose cane, to finish that pendant, but I'm waiting on a core roller to come. I decided to do something. Anyways, so next, I gotta get these. Let's see if I can pick these all up. Onto the black. Stick. Stop it. Oh, damn. It's stuck. Get these on the black. Okay. And then let me move this off that piece of paper so it sticks down a little bit. I'm going to trim up the excess again. Everything's so sticky in the summer. And trim up the sides. I'm going to do it at a slight angle. Next, what I'm going to do is begin rolling. I'm going to flip it that way. And I want to roll this. I want to see if I can get it to roll up into a sausage. Let's see. Wait, hang on. It's not going to give me the look I want. Let me leave that there. I think I'm going to cover it and another layer of black. So let me pause. Hang on one second. Let me think about this. Okay, bear with me. So what I think I'm going to do, this is some black rolled out on my thinnest setting. So let me just roughly cut it to the shape. Move this white because I'm going to use that little white bit after. About an inch wide or so. I'm winging this, guys. I have something in mind, but I'm not quite sure how to create it. So I figured, well, I was creating it, I'd record it. And then if it came out nice, great. If it didn't, I could delete it. So I'm going to take a little bit of this black, and I'm going to lay that. I'm going to take like a needle tool I have, and in between each circle I'm going to just slightly define where the circles are. Might help me roll it. Might not. Might just be a stupid step that there was no actual reason for. Oh, I got a little crooked there. Straighten that back out. Okay. And cover the end. God, everything is so sticky. It drives me insane. I'll show you what it looks like in just a second once I get it all covered. And I'm also covering the end as well. So I'm going to wrap that up to the end and quickly trim that off. There. Stretch back so that wasn't quite wide enough. There's a little excess here. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. I'm just going to trim this excess away here. Oh, I didn't even use. Don't you love these blades that you actually have to look to see what end is a blade? There's like no holes at the top or anything. There's a little excess on this side too. I'm just going to fold it down. Cut that excess off. Not that it's a lot, but it's still a little bit of black I want to keep. Okay, so now this is what we have right now. A layer of translucent, thickest layer of white sausages, thickest layer of black, middle setting of black there. And just compress this down into all the grooves a little bit better. You could probably use anything for this, even probably the dull side of your blade would probably work fairly well. Just don't cut through. Okay, and then I'm going to take on that middle setting a layer of white, and I'm going to wrap that on that same side we did the middle setting, so the top side there. So let me just roughly cut that about to size. My stack got a little wider at the end, so let me do that. Anyway. Oh. Hang on, let me roll it through my post machine the other way. Widen it just a hair. And the nice thing about polymer clay is if, like I just did, I cut it a little thin, you can pull it and stretch it. Yes, it'll make it a little bit thinner, but in this it won't really matter. This is a translucent cane to add something to append it, you know, a little, like you saw, the leaves, the spirals, just a little extra something. It's not usually going to be my main focal point. Let me just quickly draw these indents again. I can kind of feel where the sausages end with my finger. Okay. And these ones, let me see, I think I'm going to cut straight. Do I want it to wrap? Yeah, I want it to wrap a little bit. Let's try wrapping it. See what it looks like. Cut that off. And wrap that one around. Cut that excess off. Okay. A little excess there. I don't like to waste any clay if I don't have to, even though I don't usually do a lot of tests, because there are a lot of great tutorials out there that show you how to do things. It's where you don't have to kind of wing it at home, but I wanted to see if I could create something in my head. A basic thing that I had in my head, but it may or may not work. Okay, so now we need to attempt to roll this, and I wanted the thickest on the inside, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. So let's start with the thinnest ones. And what if we roll? This is going to take some coaxing. Oh, it's kind of off the edge of my screen. So gently coax it. You don't want it to get it to crack too much. Keep these ends in. see. And this is going to be very similar to that lace cane that I showed you with that other one. Hang on, let me just smush it down here. And now I'm going to pinch this end to make it kind of flat. So I'm keeping my fingers on the end here because I don't want it to really widen. And I'm going to pinch it to kind of meet up with the other area, without putting too much pressure over here on any one cane. Okay, so that's what we have so far. Let's see what this looks like when I'm done. So now I'm going to reduce it as a circle. So we're going to pinch in the middle. So far I don't think this is what I had in my head, but we'll see what it looks like. So I'm going to pinch in the middle and kind of make it, give it a little waist in the middle. You could also squeeze like this. I don't like that. That's not comfortable for me. Maybe if you had a bigger cane it would be more comfortable. I tend not to work in large amounts. I'll make, you know, a handful of one pendant and then make a handful of another. I don't like to make big batches of similar things. I'd rather have it be more one of a kind. So we're going to reduce this as a circle. I don't think you guys need to watch me reduce it all, but I am going to reduce it the same way we reduce any circle, or however you reduce any circle. So I didn't reduce it super far, but I did reduce it some, and I would, depending if I like it or not, or no matter what. I mean, the end looks kind of cool here. I'm going to cut off the end, and let's take a peek at it, because I want to see what I'm getting here. Now, you should always let your canes rest. I'm going to try not to get a bunch of smearing, which I did get some distortion when I cut that. That's kind of neat. I like to show the distorted ends because I still use them. You know what? Right here kind of looks like a guy's arm making a muscle, like up to there. It's funny. Just cut this end off. I don't usually roll it when I cut my canes, but I'm just trying not. It's so sticky. It's like, it was like close to 90 degrees today. What I'll do is I'll go stick it in the refrigerator, and then I'll show you what it looks like when I actually cut it for good. I'm gonna first take a piece off and reduce it down, because these kind of canes I usually use in a smaller size, just to separate two other canes usually, or to cover that seam. So let me reduce it down. I'll go stick it in the fridge, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like when it's done. And maybe I'll use this on some type of project. I don't know. We'll see what type of project I'm going to make, so you can actually see what it looks like on something. Maybe I'll just stick some excess pieces of stuff together and put this on it, so we can kind of see how it would look like in a piece, not just on its own. Because when you're looking at it on its own, it looks like a focal point, but it's not. It's not a focal cane. You know, this is an accent cane, for lack of better words. It would be like that, you know, this would be like the spiral I made here that you don't see a lot. This would be the leaf cane, you know, that adds a little extra something, but not anything too crazy, you know, to a pendant. So that's what my plan for this was. It wasn't the focal, you know, cane, but it is a part of a piece that I was planning on using. Let me just roll just a hair. I'm gonna go a little bit more. I'm going to pause this because you really don't have to watch me reduce, but I'm going to pause, and what I'll do is I'll stick it in the fridge for maybe 5 minutes, and then I'll cut it, and I'll be back. I just wanted to show you, I took some old flower canes I had, and I just made some quick beads. I had some excess gold that I used, and then I used that as I would to separate it. Now these canes are quite light for the black on there. Like some type of different cane would probably look better there, or with it, but that's what I had already made. So this is right now before baking, obviously, as you can tell. So even with cutting them thin enough, you can see it shining through those circles. It kind of reminds me of something like a nautilus or a shell almost. So in that kind of theme, it might look good. So I'm going to get these in the oven, and then I'll show you what they look like when I come back. And hopefully they'll look kind of cool, but I didn't make these beads to be anything fancy. I just kind of had some scrap clay out and some excess canes and threw it together quick. So I will be back and I'll show you what they look like when they're done. So here is the final outcome of those beads. I just quickly sanded and buffed them. They don't have any resin on them or anything. I think what I would have liked better is if that bottom layer was the same thickness as the black right here was on a 0. I wish it was the same thickness on a 5 as these inner ones. I think it wouldn't have been so bold of an outside. But it's, you know, not the main focus of the bead either. And again, I think it would look better on a different bead with darker colors as well. But that was my playing today. You know, you gotta play with things to figure them out and experiment. So that was my experimentation with this cane. I'm not sure what I'm going to call it. Honestly, it looks like a strong arm. That's what it looks like an arm, like making a muscle. That's what it looks like, but with too many bulges. My strong arm cane. I don't know. I'll keep playing around with gains till I figure out some other translucent ones that I like, because I like to have these little accent translucent pieces. But I hope that gave you some inspiration, some ideas, some thoughts of what you can create at home from different ideas that you may or may not have ever seen before. Take a shot. Try different things. You may come up with something super cool. You may come up with a dud. You may come up with a so-so. But that was my piece. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I hope it gave you, again, some inspiration for different things you can create at home. But if you liked it, please share or like if it was interesting to you. I hope everyone has a great night, and I think I'm going to try, like I said, I was kind of thinking of a leaf cane to make, something very similar. I was just jotting something down in my head to that kind of shape, so I may show you that test run with that one too. Hey, why not, right? Have a great weekend. I hope it's nice for you, and I'll talk to you later.